Hello everybody and welcome to Whiz, your family-friendly podcast where we discuss D&D Onslaught, Dice Masters, HeroClix, and the other entertaining games made by WizKids. I'm WizDad, your favorite cooldown ability that you keep in your back pocket for a rainy day, only for the character that I'm on to be KO'd before you can use it. Sorry. I will be your guide for navigating the competitive and casual scenes of the WizKids Triforce of gaming. It's Onslaught Wednesday. Today we will continue our look at the Frogmire Coven scenarios in the new Frogmire Coven Onslaught expansion. Hey, we're only 2 weeks away from it coming out. But before that, let's go over the WizKids Progress Report.
Kowalski, Progress Report.
With it being the off-season, as I call it, for WizKids Gaming, or at least competitive, there's not a ton of releases for the rest of the year. You know, we've only got 2 more months until 2024, essentially, like 2.5 months. But just a reminder, today is October 11th. Today is the release day of the Ancient Construct. I'm doing quotes with my fingers. You can't see it. But yeah, the Ancient Construct is supposed to come out today, so definitely stop by your local, see if they ordered it. If not, double check and see if they can still order it. It is by far one of the most important ones you can get for Onslaught. It is very, very cool looking. I'm probably going to stop by my local today to see if they've received their shipment. If they haven't, have them double check. Once again, I'll emphasize, make sure you strike up that kind of relationship with your local. I know for me, they're comfortable enough to look up, for us we use Alliance, to look up their Alliance order and see, oh hey, yeah we ordered it, or let me look at the invoice, oh it's coming in this week. Stuff like that. I know for my local, they prefer the free shipping, so sometimes things don't arrive on their own if there's not a lot of other stuff coming with it. But luckily, you know, with Alliance, they ship a bunch of other stuff, so it happens pretty frequently that we get it on time. But definitely check that out. It should be coming out today. Still, 2 weeks from now, like I mentioned literally like 2 minutes ago, the Frogmire Coven expansion is coming out. I will emphasize again how important this expansion is. It adds 2 maps that are going to be used, most likely. I mean, we saw them in the tournament scenarios. That are going to be used going forward for different types of scenarios. It adds a lot of water. Once again, the base set is very basic. That's the point. The next 2 maps have water and some obstacles and give a little bit more flexibility to scenarios, essentially. So I would try to obtain every map that you can, every expansion that you can, especially since the price point is a little lower. It's, I think, 89, maybe 79. Depending on where you try to get it. But definitely check that out. Also, don't forget, if you get any minis that are broken by any means, like out of the box, not like you dropped it and broke it, there is a replacement site for WizKids. Just go check out just look up WizKids replacement, and there's a creator replacement package, and the Onslaught stuff is on there. So definitely check it out in case you get a mini. I think like one of my red wizards might be missing a hand or something. That's not enough for me to want to fix it. But either way, definitely check that out. Finally, I don't know if I really want to put myself on the spot like this, but 2 things. One, I am working on making a Roll20 version of D&D Onslaught. I went through this obviously with HeroClix, if you didn't know that, during COVID to help. You know, I helped out significantly with Rock Online when we did HeroClix events online during COVID because people wanted to play and we were all stuck at home. Well, Onslaught's kind of going through something similar in the sense that, you know, the game is not widely popular yet. And so having getting games in, practicing, stuff like that is quite difficult if you don't have someone locally to play with. I will also mention, like, just traveling with the set and playing with the set, it's also kind of difficult to do so. Setting everything up could take a minute, so I am working on Roll20 to create a very basic format of it. It's not going to look pretty because I don't want to get into any like IP issues, but I also don't want to like make anybody not want to buy the game and just want to play it online. But I do want to make an avenue that allows people to play together, especially if they want to get into the competitive side of it. I want people to be able to play. So I've been working on it. I've got the initiative cards, the map, the first map at least, and some of the basic rules. There are a few things that I might have to pay for a pro subscription to have access to. For whatever reason, Roll20 does not like rolling 2d20s, but factoring in critical misses. Usually rolling 2d20s and Roll20 is advantage in D&D. So some finagling there. Once again, it's not going to be perfect, but it is hopefully going to be playable. I have experience doing this, so stay tuned for that. I'll try to post on my WizDad socials, which right now is just Facebook. I really need to branch out onto like Instagram and X, I guess is what it's called now, or Twitter. But yeah, stay tuned to that. Also, feel free to subscribe to, I guess, my podcast. Please leave any reviews. I'm doing my podcast through Spotify, and I know it sends an RSS feed to everywhere else, but also feel free to subscribe to my YouTube. Anything to help me get Onslaught out there more, HeroClix out there more, and Dice Masters out there more. I will issue a quick apology to my Dice Master fans. I know I've been neglecting a few episodes. Mondays are really my busy day, unfortunately, and I need to get in the habit of recording on Sundays so that way I don't have to try to fit it in on Mondays, because a peek behind the curtain, I try to do these episodes on the day they're coming out. You're listening to this now, and I probably recorded it just a few hours ago. So, yay. Anyway, let's talk about the rest of those Frogmire scenarios. At least, we'll probably get through 2 to 3 of them.
Get your gear, little man. We're going fishing. And I mean now.
So last we left off, I believe we had finished with the ritual, which was the scenario I hadn't played through, but it was the finals match of the World Championship, and looked very, very interesting. The next one we're going to talk about is Scenario 3, the Betrayal. This one I have played through. I thought it was awesome. It was definitely a very interesting take. So let's go through it a little bit. So for this map, let's talk about what to talk about first. So let's talk about how you set it up. So on this map, there's Bullywug ambushers. We've talked about them before. Back in the rescue, and a Yanti assassin, and then the green hag. So they all kind of show back up, though I believe last time it was the night hag, if I'm correct. Sea hag. It was the sea hag. This time it's the green hag. The green hag on this map, talking about the enemies real quick, the green hag on this map doesn't really do a ton of damage to you. What it does is she pulls the closest character towards her and tries to get her adjacent to her control point. She doesn't move, but when you're adjacent to her, you start taking damage. It's like a poison. If you get close, that could be pretty bad. This is actually listed in the special rules. It's called the Mystic Circle. The green hag begins the scenario overlapping a control point token. When she overlaps this token, she can suffer a maximum of 1 damage from attacks unless the attacker is adjacent to her. Characters cannot move onto the control point, but treat the green hag as adjacent while they are adjacent to the control point. When a character moves adjacent to the control point, they gain 1 poison token, so that means they'll take damage on their turn. After the green hag is reduced to 6 HP or fewer, place her adjacent to the control point as far away from the enemy characters as possible, then remove the control point and replace it with a Yanti assassin. So when we played this in Worlds, they did away with the Yanti assassin, just because I think that was going to be a little too much. What was very interesting at Worlds was you saw 2 games, like my game and the person next to us, take 2 absolutely different focuses for this. So this is called the Betrayal. Let me talk about how that plays in. Each player at the beginning of the game, for setup, selects 5 characters to form their team, and takes the matching character tokens for those characters. Each player then selects 2 of their characters to be marked safe from selection. So you have your team of 5, you choose 2 of them to say, those people are safe. And then you get the remaining 3 tokens and you pass them to your opponent. Your opponent then selects 1 character from the other team and designates that as the traitor. Once both people made the decisions, what we did is we kind of held our hands out with the token in our palms, like closed fist, and then we flipped our hands over and revealed who we took. And basically that traitor, whoever they chose, for the rest of the scenario, that traitor is now a member of the other party and will be played by the other player. So super cool. You'll come in with like 5 Harpers, and one of them will go to the other team, and you might pick up a Red Wizard or something like that. Super, super cool idea. One of the few ways to get mixed factions together. Super, super neat. But it's not all, green fields from here, because it doesn't just play out perfectly like that. Basically, when you set things out, your 4 characters that weren't chosen go into the starting zone, which is kind of in the middle of the map. This is the same map that was used for the rescue, FYI. This is not the kind of broken down fortress type thing that was used in the ritual. The hag is in the middle. You have kobold acolytes in the corners. They're just chilling. The bullywug ambushers. But then you have, it's kind of hard to explain over audio, so you might want to look on my Facebook, because I do post this scenario on my Facebook. But basically, wherever your starting area is, your starting area is in essentially the corner, like 3 squares away from both sides in the corner, if that makes sense. Like you're 3 squares away from the corner. In the very corner is an escape space for your opponent. You place the traitor on the other side of the map, on the same, like if you're thinking of it like rows and columns, in the same row but the opposite side column. So you have to go the length of the map. It's really hard to describe this audio wise. I hadn't thought about that. But think of it like this. Your traitor is far away, split in between. Basically, your opponent and you have about equal distance to get to the traitor. The traitor is trying to get to their escape point. To get to that escape point, they have to go by the starting area of the opponent. So it's not easy. It's not like they could just, tra-la-la-la-la and walk right over there. There's a lot of water. They have to get there, and your opponent is right there. And if they just try to run real fast, if they try to, Lasaelle or Aird or something, they're just going to get demolished, because they can easily destroy them. How to score points, you wonder? Of course. So the objectives: defeat the traitor from within your ranks while rescuing the defector who is fighting to reach your side. Your traitor reaches the enemy space. Win. So you just win the game if your traitor reaches the enemy space. Defeat the enemy trainer, you get 3 victory points. Defeat an enemy character, you gain 1 victory point. Defeat the Yuan-Ti assassin, you get 2 victory points, and defeat the hag, you get 3. So lots of ways to get victory points. There is PvP on this side. You do get victory points for taking out your opponent's characters, but it's a little bit of a game of, okay, do we want to try to escort our traitor? Like, how much of my team is going to the traitor that's on my team, the defector, to protect them and try to get them to the escape point, and how many is going after the traitor, the person that was on my team and is trying to escape and win for my opponent? It was very, very interesting. A lot of strategy had to went into it. In our game, the game I played, it was a little different. We avoided the hag altogether, knowing that you could only deal 1 damage, knowing that they can kind of suck you in a bit, make you move. I believe it makes you half your movement. Use half your movement to get there. We avoided her. I sent 2 of my people to go out and rescue the person I had. I think it was Sedona is who I ended up taking. Rescue Sedona. He had only sent like Aird out to take her out, and he got ambushed by the bullywugs and just kept missing, and Aird went down, funny enough. And then my other 2 people, which was like Staghar and somebody else, went after not Kithra, one of the other red wizards. I'm going to blank on the name for a second, but went after her. Basra. He took Basra. Went after Basra, and it really boiled down to, I just took out more of his characters, and there wasn't really a way he was going to get to his escape point. He had some bad rolls with Aird. Aird was very popular for these maps because Aird flies and ignores the water. very, very interesting scenario. One that you're probably not expecting. You know, you go in with your 7 people and then whittle it down to a team of 5. You're not expecting to give up a character. So the Betrayal is really a really neat way of saying, oh, okay, I have to plan 3 characters. Like, what 2 characters am I saving? For me, it was saving Staghar because I needed the heal and I didn't want him to get an additional minion. And then I believe I saved Vendra, because Vendra was also very good. Vendra I knew could move the most because of Writhing Tide. So it worked out in my favor. Now the game next to us, funny enough, they just went straight for the Hag because that was 3 victory points. So they kind of went in the middle and just demolished the Hag slowly, which is wild and also just shows the flexibility of these games. Just the fact that that's all they did. They went for the Hag and then went after each other. So it's really cool, really nice scenario. Vast difference from the ones in the base game. I think Betrayal, it's probably second for me, maybe first next to the Rescue. I like the Rescue a lot, but the Betrayal left a lot of nuance to it, because you can't just waltz your trader over to the other zone, right? It's your opponent's right there. So a lot of trickery goes into that. Let's see, is there anything else I need to talk about with this scenario particularly? Bullywug ambushers are pretty powerful. They're not upset like crazy powerful, but they deal damage. You can't ignore them. They have decent AC, so you know you can't just say, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna worry about them. Let me just mind my own business." No, you have to take them out. Let's see, how much damage do they do? I think they do like 2 damage, something like that. 2 to 3 damage. Yeah, and poor Aird for my opponent just got effectively demolished by it. He tried to do some cool move where he was going to double hit, and Aird was surprising. I have Aird for Harpers, and I've just never really played Aird before, so I've never really been into him, but seeing him in this scenario definitely changed my opinion of them. Like I said, I never did the Yanti Assassin, was not done in this scenario, but it is typically. So something to note that in the tournament, maybe there's more desire to take out the Hag, but when that Assassin pops out, maybe it's less desire to take out that Hag. The next scenario is the quest. Now, I have not played the quest, I have not seen the quest, so let's learn about this one together. This one, once again, has Kobold Acolytes, Bullywug Ambushers, a Yanti Assassin, but this time the Night Hag. So in this one, you set up the map as indicated, putting out all the characters and assign them the initiative cards. You set up the loot like normal. The player who lost the Betrayal chooses 5 of their characters and places them in one of the starting area. Then the other character chooses 5 of their characters and places in the miniatures in the other. The Sting of Betrayal. Traders begin this scenario with a free level up ability and may level up again during this scenario. Oh, interesting. So if your character was chosen as a trader, they get a free level up and they get it again. And your characters come back. So it's not as if you keep that one character forever. Your trader then went to the other team, they come back, they have now another level up. That's pretty much all the setup. Special rules. There's a control points. A party holds a control point by having more characters overlapping. Overlapping that point than the opposing party. Parties that do not hold a control point cannot deal damage to the Night Hag. Okay. The objectives: slay the evil hag and her thralls. Okay, so we're back in another PvE style, which I like. I like these. Defeat a Bullywug Ambusher, 1 victory. Yanti Assassin, 2 victory points. Defeat the Night Hag, 3. Deal 3 damage to the Night Hag, 1 victory point. And at the end of the game, gain 2 victory points for dealing the most damage to the Night Hag herself. So this is another PvE one, which I love PvE ones. You and your opponent start on opposite sides of the map. You're about equal distance away from the Night Hag. The Yanti Assassin's much closer to the first player than the second one. And the control points are actually further away from the hag. They're kind of, if you think of the two starting areas on opposite sides of the map, the night hag and the control points are basically on the opposite sides of the map as well. So there's going to be some engagement there in the quest, because the control points are only like 6-7 squares away, and there's maybe like half a wall breaking them apart, or separating them, I should say. So it's impossible to really sit on those control points and not engage while also taking out the night hag. And if you don't control one of those control points, you cannot damage the night hag. So that's very interesting. I like that a lot, because you're basically doing a battle on two fronts where you want to have your people, your characters on the control point, at least probably two. And then your other three are going to go battle the night hag and the rest of them. So that really, you have to really decide on who do you feel comfortable staying behind to be able to take whatever assault your opponent is going to throw at you, and who do you feel comfortable sending out to attack the night hag. So very interesting, because the night hag's also not alone. The night hag does have the 4 kobold acolytes around him. There's the Bullywug ambusher on the way, and there's a Yanti assassin really close by as well. So that's very interesting. Once again, I love PvE style. PvE style scenarios. So I am 100% for this. Love it. And then the last one we'll talk about today, this will be a little bit of a shorter episode. We'll cover the last 3 scenarios. Basically, there's this scenario I'm about to talk about, the Coven, and then there's one more, which is the final scenario. But then there's also a solo scenario and a multiplayer scenario, like a 3 to 4 player scenario, I should say, that we'll get to next week. On the release, well, no, next week won't be the release day, but ahead of Frogmire. So let's talk about the Coven. So you can guess it, all 3 hags are here. The night hag, the sea hag, and the green hag are all here. There are bullywug bodyguards here, and writhing tentacles. There's 4 of them. Interesting. Detach the 4 tentacles from Frogmoth miniature and affix them to the water effect bases. Then set up the map as indicated. You set up the loot. You choose characters. The player who lost the quest chooses 5 of the characters, place them in one of the starting areas. Sting of Betrayal. Traders begin this scenario with a free level up ability and may level up again during this scenario. If a trader gains victory points by defeating an enemy, gain 1 extra victory point. Was that the same in the last one? Hold on. Was that the same in the quest? Did I just not... Oh yeah, it was the same in the quest. I just didn't read that. Interesting. So whoever you choose as a trader, that's vitally important, especially if they're able to gain victory points. Very interesting. So special rules, bridges are back in this one. Unstoppable mass. Writhing tentacles can move through bridge tokens as though they were water terrain. If they move through a bridge, the bridge is removed from play. Interesting. Weakened by the rituals. The hags suffer 1 additional damage from cursed weapons. Don't remember if we mentioned cursed weapons. Cursed weapons are a new part of this game. They are very interesting because basically when you loot a chest, you get the 3 tokens. If any of them are cursed, you have to choose the cursed weapon and it has to be equipped. Some of the cursed weapons are pretty strong. Some of them are pretty bad, but they are interesting. I'll leave a little bit of mystery to them. Let's just say I've played with some of them. Very, very cool. Makes looting not as profitable sometimes, but sometimes it's fine. Oh, and with cursed items, obviously, you can't hand them off. You can't, like, they have to be equipped and they stay equipped. For the objectives, defeat a Bullywug bodyguard is 1 victory point. Loot a chest is 1 victory point. Defeat the sea or green hag is 3 victory points. And the night hag is 5. So this is another PvE. No benefits for taking out your opponent outside of, like, hitting and getting XP. And so you just win by defeating the hags. That's pretty simple. Once again, the map itself is same map as before, kind of the broken ruins area. The hags are all next to each other, like within 2 squares of each other, on the opposite side of the map as you and your opponent. You and your opponent are also on sides of the map. The other side of the map, there's really nothing, so it's all kind of just a race to that one corner with the 3 hags and the 2 bullywug bodyguards and the writhing tentacles. Now the tentacles, let's see, when the writhing tentacles, and unfortunately I haven't opened up my copy of the game yet, so I don't have all the character cards to look at and reference, and I probably should have if I was going to talk about this. I've been meaning to do an unboxing, and that's why I have been hesitant to open any of it. Is because I really, really want to do an unboxing. But writhing tentacles, they move closer to your character and attack them. The green hag uses the lure to move someone closer than attacks. Kind of just, they all do the same thing that they've been doing. This one would be very interesting because I'm eager to see how strong the hags are. From the foundation, this looks like a very basic scenario where you're just kind of running over, trying to take out as much as possible quickly. Like, so I could see this scenario being quick. At the same time, because it's not like the night hag where you had to have control points, right? Where you had to be on a control point to damage. You just run in and attack. I think it's more of a DP, like taking from a little bit of an MMO standpoint, like a DPS race. How fast can you damage and how quickly? Because there's no bonuses for damaging. It's purely defeating. So there's going to be a lot of like knowing how much damage is left, making sure I can set myself up to deal the most damage without just giving it away to my opponent. So that's interesting. So thus far, we've gone over 5 scenarios. And to recap, we had the rescue, which was PvE. And once again, I say PvE, player versus environment, because there's no bonuses for attacking or taking out the enemy character. That's what I mean by PvE. So in this case, nothing in the rescue. You just rescue prisoners and you take out the ambusher and the archers. The ritual, you do get benefits for attacking the enemy character. You get victory points. So that's fine, it's PvP. The betrayal, the same thing. It'd be kind of weird if you didn't, because you're trying to take out the traitor and the enemy characters. And then the quest, which was just the night hag, that one was PvE. That's the control points in order to hurt the night hag. And then the coven is PvE. So kind of a really good balance of here's somewhere I want to, and I should mention, when I say PvE, like obviously in these scenarios you're going to attack your opponent. It's just not, it's discouraged almost. You can attack your opponent to slow them down, maybe make them drop an item or throw off their next attack. Absolutely. But your goal isn't to go take out your opponent because you don't get any victory points. Time is precious in these, only 6 rounds, 8 rounds. So that means your characters only have a finite amount of activations. Do you want to spend those activations attacking another opponent and devoting resources, precious resources, to KOing that character when you don't get any points from it? So when you don't get victory points from it, that's why I tend to say, oh, this is a PvE type event. So that's nice. It's nice to see that it's kind of 3 PvE and 2 PvP. My guess is that with the Frogmire, the Scenario 6, probably back to some PvE, so that way it's a nice equal, an equal 3-3 type of scenario. But yeah, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. I know it's a shorter episode, but that was kind of the point of me doing this whole podcast, with short episodes to give you a little something to listen to on the way to work. Next week, we will talk about the final scenario, Frogmire, and go over the Battle Royale and the solo scenario, which I think they just call, it's called the Plague. I was about to say, it's a zombie scenario, but you can play by yourself, which is nice. So we'll cover that next week. Once again, reminder, talk to your local gaming store, see if they've got the Ancient Construct in hand. If so, remember, it is a tournament kit, so if you got it in hand, try to schedule a tournament. Go ahead and start getting things going. I've been trying to grow a local player base. I still need to make a local Facebook group. I've been meaning to do that. But definitely check that out. And also make sure you've ordered the Frogmire Coven expansion. It looks pretty great. I am hoping this week, maybe this weekend, I'll be able to record and post an unboxing of it so everyone can see what everything looks like. But thanks again for listening to Whiz. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys on Friday for HeroClix Friday. Have a great day.